So peer-to-peer is a marketplace that is really developing now. Zipcar was the beginning of the sharing economy. Peer-to-peer is now in transportation, is companies like Lyft and Uber and others. And we're seeing more and more of those improvements come. First and foremost around infrastructure, right? Transportation, we've underinvested in it for decades now in most cities. And so here's the private economy coming in and bringing in private money using technology primarily to disrupt a way people get around. And so we're seeing it largely in transportation. I think new things are going to be happening in everything from education to healthcare that'll probably bring about more changes in peer-to-peer models, but time will tell. The big difference today in cities in particular is the mindset has changed. That the consumer's ready for this. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I'm not sure the consumer was ready. To me, so much of this is about the millennial population, the so-called under age 30 crowd. They're ready for mobile technology to intersect with their lifestyle in ways that previous generations just never got comfortable with. And it didn't exist. So I think those will continue to happen. We'll see major changes in cities. People are much less attached to owning stuff. And so I think in cities in particular, we'll see big changes coming. So I think the sharing revolution sort of is underway. We're seeing a lot of activity now, particularly in transportation and travel. Airbnb is another example, really disrupting what we think of as the hotel or hospitality industry. That's well underway and happening. I think education has real opportunities. We think about having to go to very much a bricks and mortar place for education, to get education and even get support for education. I think we have very underutilized resources in education that really what we're doing with a lot of these peer-to-peer and sharing models is taking underutilized bits of giant resources and assets and much better utilizing them, right? Using disruptive technology. So education, healthcare, along with transportation, feel like areas that we're going to see major changes where peer-to-peer or sharing and technology comes together to really shift the way the consumer behaves in those industries. So, I mean, this is always a question that comes up, and I go back to the culture and the core values of Zipcar. One of our we only had 5 core values, and we use one of them on what we call have an impact. I think the importance of having an impact with a company, whether sometimes people ask for profit, not for profit. I think that's the wrong question. To me, if your company doesn't have a core purpose that goes way beyond the profit and bottom line, then you're probably making a mistake. Why? Because employees really care about it. They want to know you stand for something. They want your brand to stand for something that's much bigger than how much money do we make. And the consumer wants a relationship with you through everything from social media to other media channels now. And we really have to have a connection to the consumer that is way beyond what we used to think of as a brand connection. So the social value has real economic value. In the long term, I think we're starting to see that companies that have great social missions in their company may be hard charging and for profit, much like Zipcar, but that connection to the consumer really drove loyalty. Many other companies have tried to come in and do what Zipcar did over the last 10 years. None of them are really succeeding because there's this great connection to what the purpose is of the company. And the employees are much more likely to stay for longer periods of time if they feel great about the kind of company they're part of. So I think whether you're a startup or a big company, really understanding the purpose of what your company is way beyond the profit line is just critically important to have happy employees and long-term success with the customer.